I think a really good way to do this is defining what is unwanted attention,
Perfect. What's
right?
unwanted and what's attention, I think.
Yes, yes.
Even the two words together mean something,
Yep.
but also unwanted is one word that has quite a large impact.
Hmm.
It even can make you shudder, like unwanted, or
Yeah, yeah.
and then attention can also make you shudder. So they're both quite strong impact words, I would think. But
On their own, yeah.
yeah, on their own. But like what is unwanted? Like I don't want to deal with it today because just
Yeah.
because I said today. So to me, like when I think about unwanted, there's definitely I don't want it right now. Now I might want it later.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Welcome.
Here we are with another one of our deliciously motivated mindset podcast conversations episodes. And maybe it's not an episode because that kind of has weird connotations to it. Oh, I'm taking one of these weird episodes.
Episodes, combos.
Combos. I'm looking forward to this conversation, and we've already had some discussions about the topic. We are talking today about how to deal with unwanted attention. And the more we put our attention on this, the more we realize there's such a plethora of different avenues that we can experience unwanted attention. So I'm looking forward to unpacking this and looking at sharing tips and ideas of how to deal with unwanted attention. But before we unpack this and get into sharing tips, we're going to do our little check-in. So, dear listeners, if you've been with us before, you know that this is how we start each episode. And if you haven't been here, welcome. What we're doing is we're just doing a reassessment, checking in to see, we call it our PEMS check-in. Well, that's how I reference it, is our PEMS check-in. And PEMS stands for physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So we're just checking in all four pillars of us, of our own well-being. And we rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is calm, blissed out, poised, zen, zen for zero, or zero for zen. And then 10 is like discombobulated, chaotic, crazy making, stuck, wondering if it's up or down, that type of thing. And the truth is we move up and down each of those numbers, and we can feel discombobulated in our head, and yet maybe our body's feeling okay. So it's just an assessment of it, the overarching theme. And of course, the intention of our conversations is always to meet you where you are and gently, lovingly, inspiringly nudge you down towards that 0. And so we encourage you to just take a wee note of where you're at now and then have a wee check in. Take it, maybe even put your hand on your heart and check in at our halfway point. And then we're all going to check in at the end. So, all that being said, dear Deb, where are you?
Well,
Well,
I would say I'm a 2, but in my head, I'm a bit of an 8 because I'm like, must not say this, must not say this, but this whole conversation today, I'm like, there's things that I'm going, unwanted attention, must not say this in the podcast, must not say this. So my head got,
like radar is out.
and that's down to an 8 of me being in a bit of a chaotic, don't say this, don't even write it down. And like, but I'm definitely a 2, but my mind's going, don't say this. This is not the place to say certain things.
You're funny.
So I
You're
would say
funny. So this
I'm
is
saying two.
unwanted attention.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to say a 2.
It's interesting because just as you were saying that part, I wrote down that I'm a 2 also. But of course,
But of course, but
but
of
of
course.
course. So unwanted attention. I know you're not going to share a story of what you're not must not share. What would you say? Where would you like to start with this? How would you describe? Actually,
Well,
I think a really good way to do this is defining what is unwanted attention,
perfect. What's
right?
unwanted and what's attention, I think.
Yes, yes.
Even the 2 words together mean something,
Yeah.
but also unwanted is one word that has quite a large impact.
Mm-hmm.
It even can make you shudder, like unwanted, or
Yeah, yeah.
and then attention can also make you shudder. So they're both quite strong impact words, I would think. But
On their own, yeah.
yeah, on their own. But like what is unwanted? Like I don't want to deal with it today because just
Yeah.
because I said today. So to me, like when I think about unwanted, there's definitely I don't want it right now. Now I might want it later.
Mm-hmm.
Must not say things, must not say things. It's gonna come all the way through it. But I might want it now, but right now it's not wanted.
Right.
So that can change because of our PEMS.
Of course. And of our bandwidth and of what we've got on our plate, on our to-do list, on our intentions, that it can definitely change. Because if I say something that's unwanted might be, I don't want somebody calling me with an appointment request, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't have the space or the bandwidth to even put somebody in my schedule, for instance.
Yeah.
But that's that day. So if somebody then reached out and said, could you tell me a time? And I can say,
Yeah.
oh, maybe in two or 3 days, I can do that, right?
Yeah.
So
Otherwise,
just
you go 2 or 3 days. I'm going 2 or 3 weeks because I don't actually really want to talk to you. So just people, if you do book in my calendar and you can't get in for 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you. It does mean I'm actually busy. But more is like 2 or 3 days. I'm like 2 or 3 weeks.
well, I was just sort of, I mean, in my way of thinking, I was just thinking like a check-in or somebody wanting to have a consultation. But it might actually end up being it. So we have the consultation, and then okay, now it's 2 to 3 weeks to actually book it into my calendar, right? Talking about that, booking things in calendar, I didn't say it, but we do encourage you to pick up your note-taking devices, whether it's a pen, pencil, or electronic. But so we encourage you, like right here, what's your definition of unwanted? Because just how we were riffing on that idea that it's actually really getting a sense of, is it unwanted? No, I do not want that in my life, or it could be
It's
never,
black
ever,
and
ever.
white.
Yeah.
So black that there's no grey, there's no opening, there's no little peaky gap. It's unwanted in capitals, in black. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be some things like that I reference those as deal breakers.
Yeah.
If that comes in, that's a deal breaker, and I have to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
Whereas the other, in what the examples we were kind of working through there, that's unwanted. It's unwanted because I don't have the bandwidth or the energy or the time or the capacity right here, right now.
So there's actually 2 aspects, isn't there? There's
Mhm.
the unwanted right now, and then there's no flippin' way.
Yeah.
But even in the no flippin' way, somebody might say, oh, okay, hang on, let me just think. So someone's recently people are saying, Deb, you need to learn NLP, NLP, and I'm like, oh, I tried it once 10 years ago and I didn't last the day. I didn't like the presenter and it was just too much for me. It's just that's the truth. But and it was unwanted. It wasn't unwanted, it was just unwanted.
Right.
But now I'm a little bit more open to it. So back then I would have said, no flipping way, I'm not doing this. I've invested all this money. I flew to this town and and went, I can't do this. I can't do this. So that's definitely, but this is probably 10, 14 years ago. So now things have shifted. So it may have been so black back then, unwanted. When I say black, I'm meaning firm.
Like definitely saying no, that's a
100%. Yeah, it's a no. But now things have shifted, then I'm open to it. So even when we say there's unwanted right now, and maybe it'll be all right in a couple of days, but then there's a firm no, you don't know what's down the track anyway. So things can change.
That's right. And so that is a really important part about the whole overarching theme of our conversation about how to deal with unwanted attention. If somebody came to you back then and said, okay, you have to do this course, I get that kind of thing too. Oh, you just have to sign up for this product or this program or this protocol. This is all you have to do. Well, and to your point, it's a really important part to just come in and see, does it resonate? Is it give you any sense of yes? When we say no, is that no, never, or no, not now? Right? And so that's
is it no, never, or no,
not
right now? I like and that. Well, this brings me back to your favorite one. My favorite one, actually, one of my favorites from you is the 3 questions.
Yes.
And
is this good for me?
Oh, good for me. Is it good for you?
For the other or the others? And do I want to?
Yeah. And they have to be a heck yes. Yes, this is
hell yes for all 3.
And do I want it? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But if it's a no, do I want it? I don't know. It's too much hassle. It takes too much. No, then it's a no. And all 3 have to be
yes.
A yes. And I think and that's a great one. And even just before, when Moira was talking, she had a hand on her heart. Just even that alone.
Yeah.
And be aware of that when you're asking your questions about yourself or how to deal with unwanted attention. Put your hand on your heart and feel that, because that's reminding you where you live, where you make your decisions, where you can function from, not the brain.
Absolutely, but that's where the wisdom comes from. And oftentimes this brings me to another one of my favorite questions, and I've said that on previous episodes here, is how does this make me feel about me? So it's by putting your hand on your heart, and you get some kind of attention, whether it's because it's somebody called you or messaged you or requested something, and you just pause. This is so important, is to create just a little buffer, just a wee bit of a buffer to say, how do I feel about myself here? So that's going to help you discern whether that attention resonates with you, or if it's I'll have to do this, or should do this.
And that's a heart decision, which you can feel in your body, over a head decision, which anybody can convince you or change your mind to go left or right. But your heart knows left, right, straight, back, pause, whatever it is. And I love that hand on heart. So if you didn't actually pick up, people, the first 2 tips does it resonate? And then the next basically is hand on heart.
Yeah.
Because we flowed that one in.
Always.
Yeah. I think, so how to deal with unwanted attention. When people, you're going to get triggered if you have not, I'm not going to say resolved, if you have not neutralized your past emotional stories or past emotional baggage, or those things. Those things, and you will get triggered from those. So be aware that when people or things, animals, give you unwanted attention, you may have a reaction, a negative reaction, because of your past stories. So just open your eye.
Be aware of your triggers.
Yeah, be aware, because then you can go, oh, well, that makes sense, because this person's doing this. Don't say it, Deb. Don't say it, Deb. It goes into my head then. So this person's done this, and it's triggered something from when I was at school or something. So just be aware that, I don't know if I can say don't take things personally, but be aware of your own personal stories.
Yeah, of what you've attached to that. Well, what I would follow right underneath that as a tip is to see if you can shift your mindset to, if you're in a situation of having unwanted attention, what's the gift here? What's the gift here? Because you see, we are all powerful attractor beings, and we are attracting that which is wanted and that which is not wanted. And so if we can just get to a sense or space of neutrality and say everything that I attract is for my highest and best good, because I am that powerful a creator, right?
The
Then it's to
creative
say,
being.
yes. Does that make sense? It's like to say, okay, I attracted this unwanted attention. Now is that person's off the hook. What's the gift here for me? Right?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to get you to explain I attracted this, because it's a favorite one when I say things like that to people. And it definitely causes attention. I'm not gonna
Yes,
say
I
it.
know.
But when we say we attracted this, maybe I'll let you. I'm thinking of you got in that car at that time. So this could be a trigger warning, people. When
Yeah, yeah,
just there you go. This could be a trigger warning, what we're going to discuss right now, because some people are hugely triggered by it.
I know.
Um,
I know.
yeah,
Because this is really, really important. And this is not intended to trigger anyone.
yeah, I
I
did.
know, and I have had horrible situations happen. I have
Yeah,
come through near-death experience actually for myself. And the key piece, and here's the thing, dear listeners, if you're in some kind of situation, which when I said a scale of 0 to 10, how are you feeling? And you might say 20, because I've been there too, or beyond
beyond.
that, 40.
Yeah,
That's not the time to be unpacking this idea of, oh, I created this or I attracted this. This is not. I totally
repeat that
guarantee.
again, because I think that's really important.
Yes, you're not to sit there going, I suck because I attracted this car accident or this horrible situation or this trauma
Yeah.
or this turmoil or this ailment or this pain while you're right in it. And this is how I've come to deal with this one, is that I have implicit trust in myself that I will actually get to the realization of, aha, that's what the gift of me attracting that is. I know I'll get there. However, I have to allow, sometimes I have to allow sitting in the suffering. Maybe I need a pity party and cry about it, or say I've been betrayed or let down, or whatever it is that I need to work through. It's not this idea of I've attracted it. If it starts to feel like a punishment, it's not time for you to dive into it. Right? That's the
Yeah.
key piece, is if that starts to feel like I suck, I'm an idiot, I'm worthless, I'm whatever, the negative spiral that might be coming down. Like if I attracted this, I'm like
I'm a bad person. I deserve this. I'm
exactly.
being punished because of
Yeah.
this, and no wonder I do this all the time. And the karma's finally got me, and all those yeah, all the negative self-talk, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. If that's there, then you need to sit and maybe sit down and write down all of that negative dialogue. Actually, I really encourage people to do bullet points, is, write down the bullet points of, this is how this is happening, and this is why I did this, and I screwed up, and because you gotta get that out of your own energy vibration.
Yeah.
And you're not pretending it away or stuffing it down or any of that. And maybe, just maybe, you might need to reach out to somebody like myself or to Deb to have someone hold space for you to actually work through that, right? Because that is part of the work that both of us do.
Yeah, I think even like what Moira's just said, she's just given us 4 tips, by the way.
Okay, I was
Um,
just going.
Yeah, you were, but I was like, actually, that's a separate, that's an individual tip. That's an individual tip. But you're right, because you don't, I think the thing is, you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah,
But also with the unwanted attention, you also, I would say to people, be cautious of who you share that with.
very much so. Hmm.
And the reason, because everyone else has past stories.
Hmm.
So if you have somebody who where was I? Oh, I was watching a reel the other day on one of the social media things, and yeah, it was an interesting dynamic of a male and female, and she had got attention from people.
Hmm.
She got a free tire. What was it? Putting the tires on or something. So she bought the tire. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, she got attention from the workmen in the work site, and she got to have the tires fitted for free.
Mm.
So she was telling him, and it was on a reel. It was really interesting. And he was like, "Well, what did you wear? And what did you put out?"
Oh,
And all
gosh.
this. And I was like, "Oh my God, I couldn't be with somebody like that." Was my instant.
Wow.
Then went,
Yeah.
this is really common. This is actually common what happens. So she's gone and shared to her male partner, intimate partner, and he's just gone and thrown it all back at her and just said, "Well, what were you doing? And you do this all the time." And it just caught, and I was just like, "Wow, wow." And I'm like, of course that happens, Deborah, because that's what you deal with clients.
Hmm.
But it was a real interesting perspective to be aware of who you share your stuff with.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe she told him because she was excited about, hey, I got these things I mean, look what happened to me. She was probably excited that she saved, I don't know, 100, I don't know how much it cost to fit a tire.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was excited about that. But he was like, well, there you go. That's what you get. You go out and you put the red lipstick on and you da-da-da, and you're whoring, the whole
You're
scenario.
floozy.
So,
You're a floozy.
yeah, this is your, yeah. And yes, she attracted it. Yes, she attracted this, definitely. But there's bigger picture going on there. So the crutch of it is, don't do it alone. Moira and I are here.
Hmm.
Definitely talk about it with your intimate partners if you want to talk about it. But it helps if you actually have a bit of an understanding. So just watch who you talk to, because
Hmm.
they've got their own belief systems or
Yeah.
their own stories that they're attached to.
Yeah. Sometimes even their own agenda,
Mm,
that
yeah.
it's like that, oh, that kind of thing only happens to this type of person, so therefore you must be this type of person. So that's
Mm.
kind of like, that's a labeling agenda type thing that I don't know.
And they go from way back.
Mm.
They go way back. They go back to your ancestors, that stuff that gets passed. Oh, you can't go out dressed like that. You're going to, have a problem. You're going to get unwanted attention. Put your boobs
Right.
away. Wear trousers and a polo neck. Well, okay, even if I wear trousers and a polo neck, mum, they're still going to see me because I'm
Still, yeah.
tall
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've got blonde hair, and then they're going to hear me.
Yeah.
So just for the record, trousers and a polo neck ain't going to work for me.
I think that's something that's really important with this, how to deal with unwanted attention, is to keep coming back to your uniqueness, your voice, your gift, your calling. Because where I'm coming from with this idea is that something just recently happened to me in and listeners, if you've listened to our episodes before, you kind of know that I'm a little bit, I'm soft and gentle and into like tapping into your intuition and following the phases of the moon, and I'm very much into the law of attraction and the different aspects, but also just really accessing your inner light. That's kind of how I would kind of describe me to somebody that I hadn't worked with. So, but the part I'm saying here about the dealing with unwanted attention is that in our way of life now, we are actually very visible.
Yeah.
With social media makes us very visible. Now, that's a great thing to be visible to those that I'm called to service, to be of service to, right? Because I mean, I have a whole following on Insight Timer, so it's like I am visible, and I open myself to attention there, as well as on other social media channels like Facebook and YouTube. So the story that I wanted to share is that just recently somebody reached out and told me that I was going to go to hell, that I was doing Satan's work with with and Deb can't keep a straight face with this one. Now, I have to say that that is unwanted attention, to be told that I am this fallen person, that I am doing this terrible, dark, downtrodden, downfallen work. And so initially my reaction was, wow, I don't want that kind of attention.
Yeah.
However, as I contemplated it, of course, I didn't engage with this, but I realized that it's just a form of attention. And if somebody is reaching out to tell me how I'm wrong, I celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because, and this is why my tip was, stand in your confidence, stand in your power, stand in your uniqueness. We all have our own I was gonna we have
Genius.
our yeah, genius, that's it. We have our own genius, our
And
gifts,
we
our
deliver our
talent.
genius our
Mhm.
way.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And so we are not here to make everybody happy. And so that's kind of where I got
What?
to with that.
Sure. I'm here to please
Eh.
everybody. I'm here to please everybody. Oh my God, imagine being a people pleaser.
I know.
Be drained.
I am a recovering people pleaser, and maybe that's part of my original reaction to this thing that happened, was kind of like, oh my God, I've upset somebody. But then it was like, no, this person's saying, oh, you're going to be upset when you read everything that I have to say to you.
Yeah.
And hands down, it did not upset me. It made me giggle, if anything.
Made me laugh. I had a little snort. I had to mute for.
But do you see what I mean? It's kind of like, okay, thank you for putting your hand up and saying that I offend your philosophy in life. You're not my people, and that's okay.
And
Because then it helps me get clear on who am I speaking to,
yeah,
right?
and I think there you can make the choice, and it's
Yeah,
you, not
yeah,
me, not your mum, dad, brother, sister, whatever, your business partner. You make the choice to respond to them or not.
yeah.
That's you. You
Mhm.
make the choice that no, this doesn't feel right for me, and that's okay. So it's just like a saying no. So you can reply to them or not.
Yeah,
Like
which I'm
you
not.
don't.
P.S. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, you can make that choice. Now I'm going to bring it back to our PEMS.
Mhm,
That also depends on what type of mood you're in. Have you eaten? Did you sleep? What, like all those things, because you respond differently to conversations
mhm.
on your PEMS.
Yep.
So you can decide to reply or not, or just go, that's their opinion. That's okay.
Yep.
Send back love and move on, or reply back. But if you're going to reply back, I'm going to check in with what's your intention,
Yeah. Yeah.
because your intention could be stuff you, a-hole. How dare you do that? I've had a bad day. I'm better than you, and you're going to fire back. And that's your ego, definitely,
Mhm.
or a-hole. Um, but you're going to so you can choose to reply or not, but just be cautious of, is this a past story where someone said the same, like twice I've heard this in the last week, someone said this about me. Well, then
Mm.
maybe it's time to look at it. But you can decide if you want to reply or just leave them no reply. Like, it's
And
okay.
I like that. The other part that I would say to that, though, is to get yourself to a space of neutrality before you do respond. If you do decide, I do need to follow that up, because I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where there was something that came into me, and it was kind of like, okay, it really ticked me off, and so I just have to sit in that, because that's my gift, right? So I work through that. But then when I'll work through it and get the gift from it, I did respond to that one, but
Yeah.
from a space of neutrality. And in actual fact, that did come back in the exchange, in this specific communication that I'm referring to. That was the response I got back, was, wow, thank you for being so objective and neutral, because I
Yeah.
was presenting both sides of that. with no attachment. Here's the other thing about unwanted attention can sometimes bring about an attachment to how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah.
I'm going to
Have a
show
slice of
you. Yeah.
Sure.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
Yeah. I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove your point. And that's it. What do you want from that reply? If you're going to reply, do you want to keep engaging with them? Do you want to prove your point? Do you want to, like, what do you want? If you just go, oh, look, whatever, let's just move on. Like, what is it that you actually desire?
Yeah. And so that's the thing of to just, this is this thing about releasing the attachment is I really am not attached to everybody taking my opinion.
Yeah.
Because my life's work is to help people wake up to you do your research on yours. Find yours.
I think that's the other thing is if you're, we mentioned people pleaser. If you're going into the people pleaser mode, you're already you're going to deal with unwanted attention.
100%.
Because people pleaser mode, oh, just give it to Moira. She's really easy. She'll get it done really quickly. Just give it to Moira. Ask Moira, and Moira's getting burnt out. So unless Moira actually says, I can't do this anymore.
Enough. I can't do this. Yeah.
Yeah, enough is enough because I'm not sleeping or I'm dropping the ball and other things. Like, this is all your stuff. This is definitely all your stuff. But if people get offended because you say no or whatever, then that's their stuff.
Right.
You society, I'm going to use that word we should be able to say yes or no. I'm going to say that. So you actually can.
Well, we actually have the right to say yes or no.
Yeah, because it feels right for us, yes or no. And I think that's the thing is society, I'm going to say society, thinks that, you're hard done by when you say no to people. Sometimes people are like, what? You're saying no? No, you don't want this? This is amazing. Well, you're not, what did Moira say to me earlier this morning? You're not that special. Actually, just for the record, it actually wasn't at me. I was telling her just for the record. But even that, you're not that special. With the unwanted attention, I'm thinking of the I'm going to say scammers that come in, and my partner's dealing with at the moment just with having someone's actually trying to get into a bank.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's had a few texts saying, can you activate your code on this and can you da-da-da, and it's pretty freaky. Pretty freaky. 11 o'clock last night there was another text saying we're trying to access your internet, but it's pretty freaky what that is. And that whole thing can make us sleepless.
Definitely. That's definitely unwanted attention.
Yeah, it is. But it's also showing that it's time for her to look at her passcodes and time for her to look at the little bigger picture. So don't leave a stone unturned. If there's a gap in your uncertainty or something like that, then things get through the cracks. So I'm just going to say, just make sure you've got all angles covered the best you can. Let's just be realistic, the best you can with what you have.
Yeah.
Right here. But I mean, it's definitely with her. She shared that with me. I'm now sharing that with you, who's now sharing that with the world with our podcast. So these are things just to make you wake up and not ignore, I think.
Yeah. Because that, and that's actually a really good example of unwanted attention. That was another one of the examples that we were talking about before we hit record, was the amount of friend requests you get on Facebook. I
Excuse me.
usually get like 6 or 7 of them a day. From retired army major or doctor
Medicals.
or
The medical army, aren't
yes,
they? Yeah.
yes,
The medical army. Yeah.
yes. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, or you'll get and because there's this other way of doing it that they'll actually see a post that you did somewhere else and they'll make a comment on that
Please
saying,
friend request me that one.
yeah,
Is that right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's something wrong. I haven't been able to friend request you. Could you reach out and friend request me? Like
Yeah.
that's unwanted attention. And I just ignore that part.
Well, I used to go back to them and say, thanks for the friend request. Have we met in person? Because I'd be curious.
Mhm.
Now I'm going right back, and that's what I used to do. Now, in the last year or so, I'm like, oh, I'm just, no, delete. No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
thanks. But I don't even engage back with them and say, no, thank you, because
Yeah,
then
no,
they
I
know if
don't
I'm
either.
online in that whole thing, I'm just like, done, blocked, move on.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, but you're blocking people coming into your world. And I'm like, no, I'm blocking people of certain energy coming
Yeah.
into my
Well,
world.
you're being discerning. You see, that's a really important one about how to deal with unwanted attention. It's not that we're blocking or creating barricades. We're just being discerning of is that energy or that request in alignment with my own energy,
Mm.
right? Yes or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
And do I want to?
Yeah. Well, that's that whole thing of engaging. And I used to say, and they go, no, but you're a beautiful woman. And I go, thank you, I know, because my ego would get in. Thank you, I know.
I know I am.
You're welcome to join my Facebook page, is what I'd do.
Right.
And then you'd never see them again. But that's what I used to go, oh, I'll just send them to my Facebook page. Well, actually, they don't. They just, Deborah, they just want money off you, or they want, whatever it is. So sending them to your Facebook page where you talk about inspiration's probably not really going to help.
Development. Yeah, it's not going to do it.
Yeah. It's not going to be their jam. Yeah, yeah. But that also goes back blocking on Facebook.
Facebook. What's that?
Blocking on Facebook. It's back to that yes or no. Do I want them in my circle or not? Like you are the boss of you.
Yep. In fact, that's an interesting part too, because this is something else, and it's not happened for a long time. That when people would post on my Facebook page, like under and it might be something that was inflammatory or advertising something else or just being graffiti or inappropriate energy. Well, for me, I would just go in and take them off. And I had a friend that said, "Well, why aren't you reporting them and blocking them?" I said, "Well, I just see this as cleaning up graffiti. That's all I'm doing. Cleaning graffiti. This is my storefront, and I get to set the tone of it."
Well, and I think it's you can pick and choose. That's exactly it. So I 90% of the time report and block for the old military men. You're very beautiful. I'm now retiring from the army, and and look, I mean, I feel for all the actual military men who are retiring from the army, who are for the military, who are medical doctors, because you've got a bad rap, matey potato, or you're grey-haired silver foxes. You've got something. But I mean, it all comes back to you do you.
Exactly.
You do you.
You do you with that. I said earlier about being confident and being confident and releasing any people pleasing propensities and understand everybody's doing the best they can with wherever they're at.
With what you've got right here, right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And so it's and to your point too, it's like, hey, I just release all that with love. Sending you love. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. We are over time, and feel like we've just got into it. Isn't this what happens every week? I'm like, oh, do we need to do a part 2 on this one?
This is a big topic, I think. But particularly we're talking about the social media stuff. I think that there's that and scammers and things of that nature, right?
Well, I mean, I had I had a court case many, many, many years ago, and it was, and I'm going to label the word horrific. It was horrific. It was definitely, there was more than one court case, and it was definitely depleting of my energy.
Mm.
I've worked through that, and interesting, I'm even calling it depleting of my energy. So there's definitely still a little trigger there, because I thought I was neutral, but when I said that, I had a physical reaction. So I'm back to work on that one. But for me, back in that day when I was so young, oh, by the way, it wasn't me who did anything illegal. I'll just emphasize that, proud as
Just got to
punch.
put that in there.
Yeah, wasn't me. I've never been arrested. Wasn't me. But social media, people are quick to take a photo and upload it, or a video and upload. So your privacy, the moment you leave your house, your privacy is already changed. We don't have a lot in New Zealand. We don't have a lot of what do you have? You have cameras on your doors over there, like in America.
Oh, the CCTV.
Yeah. You have that, and you see, people go, oh, the dog jumps out at the drive, the UPS man or whatever comes up, and like they're quite funny for us. But we don't have cameras on our doors for that sort of stuff. So but the moment you leave your house, that's your privacy is stretched, and it can be posted anywhere.
Yeah.
So not change who you are when you're outside your house, but just be aware of your surroundings. I don't know how to say this actually. I'm trying to do it.
Well, this is a bit like being the observed and the observer. It's like, what would you think of a person showing up or acting like this or saying these things? How would you?
Oh,
You know what I
there
mean?
there was a thing recently, and a lady, and I know we're coming out of time, but Deborah, there was a lady, and she was somebody, an influencer. I'm going to use the word influencer. The influencer paid for her groceries,
Okay.
and she was furious. And then they posted it online, and she was like, "How dare you put my face and my stuff online and show that I had no money? Like, who do you think you are for your likes?" And that. And it's really interesting, because in that situation, you would think going and somebody paying that, like I wouldn't think they're going to post it on social media. Like, you'd be looking about going, is there somebody filming this or whatever? And people can film from a long way off. But our privacy is no longer private. Is that sort of making sense? So what I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to say be two people, one at home and one outside of home, but just be aware of, I don't know,
It's actually being responsible. Be responsible.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. I was thinking morals, and I'm like, yeah, I think, but it is. It's being responsible. Being responsible to society, or to the world. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the last tip we're doing before we go into the wrap up. Then that's a long-winded conversation, Deborah.
There.
But you know what I mean. I mean, I did feel for that woman, because you're right. I thought she didn't do anything. Someone just paid for her groceries, and then they plaster on social media that she couldn't afford it and all that. And I would be peeved too.
Yeah.
I'd be like, who gives you the right to take a video of me?
Totally.
And paying for that, and
Yes.
Anyway, right. Get off my high horse on that one. So let's wrap this up. How to deal with unwanted attention. Woo-hoo. So if you didn't grab your pen and paper before, peeps, grab it now. Pen and paper, pencil and paper, note-taking device, and let's crack on. And one of the first things we actually unpacked was the wording unwanted and the wording attention.
Yep.
So that was it. That was like, we unpacked what unwanted actually meant.
And we encouraged everybody to kind of feel into the different types of unwanted that we say unwanted. And that's when I said about unwanted, there could be deal breakers. That's a deal breaker. So that's unwanted, full stop. Whereas then there's other times that's unwanted, not now, right? I don't have the bandwidth, don't have the time, don't have the capacity, that type of thing. And use your 3 questions. It's like, is this good for me? Is this good for the other or the others? And do I want to? And it's so important to get yeses on all 3, like really good hell yeses on all 3.
Can we emphasize that word hell yeses? for those who think we're both going to hell. Because, if
Mhm.
you're going to hell, then I'm going to hell.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Throw that one in there. Yeah. Hell yes. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But those three questions are not hard.
No.
Like you instantly, once you start doing this, you practice and it comes with flow, just like your PEMS. We rated ourselves at PEMS at the start. Once you get yourself into a pattern, you're like, oh, no wonder
Yeah.
I've woke up grumpy because I didn't eat yesterday. No wonder I'm hungry. No wonder, like, oh, that makes so much sense. No wonder I'm a 10 because last time this happened, I spent the day in the hot, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The next ticket that I had here is to it's inspiring you to make heart decisions. And so I often will just put one hand or both hands over my heart, but that's when I start using that question that I love using is how does this make me feel? How does it make me feel about me? Or how do I feel about myself here? And so that can really help you discern about the attention and the whether is it wanted or not. It's very important to come
And
into
Moira
that
actually
space.
3 words when she talked about the hand on heart earlier. And I love that she said, and I don't know if she's ever said it before, she probably has every time, and I haven't listened, to tell you the truth. But today it got me. And she said the wisdom is here.
Right.
And that's where your heart is. That's where that wisdom is, and that's your answers. And I really like that, just for the record, Moira, thanks you. And you're like, I say that every time, Deborah, but that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. My PEMS is out of order. We'll just say that. My PEMS was out of order that day. I had a little bit of earwax. The next one I had was be aware of personal stories. And those stories can throw us out. So just be aware of those personal stories. That's all.
Yep.
And go, oh, okay, this comes from no wonder it's like this.
Stories
Because
and personal stories and triggers too, right? Yeah. The next one I have here is to ask yourself, what's the gift here? Because this is coming into this idea that we kind of unpacked about we are powerful creator beings and we attract this. And that's when I really went deep into if there is pain and trauma and suffering and negativity, you're not going to get there. And this is not a finger pointing of like, hey, what's up with you? Because you attracted this. This is something to step into when it's the right space and time. When you need to get to that space, the healed space of a neutral space to kind of go, oh, now I get it. Now I see.
Yeah. Right? And I got Moira to explain I attracted this. Just to unpack that. So that was that trigger warning. We'll just leave that one there. You have to go back and listen to that tip.
There you go.
Yeah. But the next one I have was trust written down. And and this came with Moira just talking. The trust came and she wrote, you'll get to that realization and that this is a gift, which she's just said again. But trust, have trust in yourself.
Yeah.
We forget to trust ourselves, that we've actually got through stuff before, or things have happened and we've survived, or I was going to say, oh, we haven't, but we have, because we're here listening to the conversation. But trust in yourself that you're actually wise enough to deal with this.
100%.
At a level.
Absolutely. The next one I have is it's an important piece to be mindful who you share what's going on with you, who you share your wins, your dreams, your intentions, your ideas. Be mindful of that, because if you share it with somebody who is mean to you or disrespectful or tell you shouldn't do that or you shouldn't do it this way, or uses labels, then it's going to feel heavier, and that's actually creating a whole nother ball of unwanted intention also.
Yeah, that's on that crazy train tangent.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the tips I had was watch your negative self-talk. And that self-talk, I'm going to talk about your internal and external, because your internal is what you think in your head. Right. No one can hear me say this, I'm a bad person. No one can hear me say like da da da. And then there's the external, which comes out your mouth. So this negative self-talk is going to take you on a spiral that's going to take you to that 10 for the PEMS and beyond. Yep. So Moira had some great tips, is write it out, bullet point it, which is brain dumping out of your head.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need to do.
Mhm.
I mean, there's definitely other aspects you can do from that, but there's sometimes you just need to write it out and go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. That's it. I've got it expressed. But that's when I also said you don't have to do it alone. Like if writing it down or speaking it out isn't enough, then reach out to
Yeah.
your support. Reach
Yeah.
out to me, reach out to Deb, reach out to your support team to
Yeah.
get this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally. And we're both, and this one goes, I've got stand in your uniqueness. Now you'll know that Moira and I are unique in our own way.
Yes.
She talks way funnier than me. She's got an accent. But stand in your uniqueness and own who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, this is who I am. This is it. If you don't like me because of your stuff or because I've triggered you, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And I guess that's that stand in your uniqueness, but not have empathy towards others, have compassion, have that love and go, this is who I am. And your
have
stuff's
confidence in it. Yeah.
and it's not going to come in and filter around me. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And that was, I think, a tip on its own, I think, was that we can always make the decision whether to respond or not. If you're getting unwanted attention, you can choose to just say, it's not even worth my energy to respond to that. I'm not even going to animate it or give it energy. So I'm just kind of like, okay, delete. Let that conversation just, fizzle out.
And when you go to respond, neutrality
Yes.
makes such a big
Yes.
difference in response.
Such an important part.
My ego brain going to kill you, going to slash you with my word. No, actually, you know what? I'm just going to reply with the heart.
Yeah.
Again. Yeah.
Yep.
The next one I've got is blocking on Facebook. No idea what I talked about this. This is probably a Deborah thing. But blocking on Facebook is, again, okay to block people on Facebook or not.
And that's, again, back to the choice thing.
Make that decision and then move on. Don't let it ponder, should I block them, should I not? Because Facebook, I mean, I didn't even know until about a few years ago. I didn't even know there was a thing called, I don't even know what it's called in your messages. Something in message requests. And I went in there and I was like, whoa. Now, some of them didn't even have profile pictures and they had actually been gone. So I guess they've already done their stuff and Facebook have sent them on their way. But it's okay to block people.
Yep. It is.
On social media, and it's okay to block people in life in a different kind of way.
Well, that's when the tip that I think really addressed that is that to always remember we all have the right to say yes or no. Our yes and no, not the yes that you should because this group of people says that you should.
Oh,
like, no, that's gonna get you lost in the weeds too.
Yeah. Right? I've got two more, which is you do you.
Right.
You do you. I took that as a quote. Be confident, which is pretty much the other one. And then the last one was be responsible.
Yes. So one of my favorite words, responsible, having the ability to respond. The last one that I had written down was to release all people-pleasing modes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that because I think I was looking at you then, listening. Yeah. So, people pleaser is a funny one. People pleasers. We must be due to do a podcast on people pleaser, Moira.
Maybe we should. Should
be wise. If you'd like a podcast on people pleaser, how to smash that puppy and break it apart.
How to release that
Like
with
pinata.
loving kindness.
Oh yeah, I break it with a pinata, and Moira goes, let's release it with loving kindness. There's your difference, people. If you've never heard it before,
there it is.
Deb gets the pinata, smash that. Moira releases with loving kindness.
I like it. But I think that we have to really underline that thing about people pleasing, because people pleasing can actually be the fundamental piece that will allow you to sit with unwanted attention. Right? And keep allowing it to keep coming in the door because, I have to do it because that's how I have to look after that person, or, put their needs ahead of mine. That's unwanted attention right there.
People pleaser jumps into that obligation too. But anyway, let's not go down that path because
that would be another rabbit hole.
That's a whole different one. So that's our tips for today on how to deal with unwanted attention. If you, there were some great tips in there. Yet again, it's not how I thought we would do it. Funny enough, I have
But
this
of course,
perception. I know, I have this perception of how we're going to run these things, and it's clearly the universe
doesn't
goes,
work.
"Nah, I've got them. I'm going to run it this way." There was some great golden nuggets in there. There was
really
definitely,
was.
even if you just take 1 point,
Mhm.
or if you just take 1 point and just start rolling with that and feel that, the shift is going to change within you, because you're honoring yourself that, you know what, I want to deal with this. I want to resolve this. I want to neutralize this. Whatever it is, I have a desire to clear this. Like, just take one at a time, because there's quite a few tips here.
Mhm.
So, just one at a time, just one at a time.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite tip every podcast is my PEMS. So that. And our PEMS, we started at the start, we gave ourselves a number, and then halfway time we gave ourselves a number, and then at the end we're giving ourselves a number. And our intention was to move you from, my hand goes, to move you from the higher numbers to the 0. That's basically where we're at. So in saying that, listeners, where were you and where are you now? Let us know in the comments. That would be amazing. Moira, you were a 2, the same as me. Well, actually, I was a 2 and then an 8.
2/8.
That's it. Where are you now?
I'm actually at a 0. I really liked this conversation, even though there was I shared some instances of a little bit of charge for me in these.
Yeah, and me.
Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't say all the things that kept going. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I know, you did well.
Just big praise for me. Thanks, everybody. I'll take that. But I'm a 0 as well. And even though I've got a little bit of work to do from this, I'm pretty inspired about this one.
Beautiful.
I'm pretty inspired. This comes out of that. So we're both 0s. That's pretty much it. So if you like, when I say that's pretty much it, that's us. Let us know how you are. So if you liked this podcast, or if you love this podcast, or you're curious about this podcast, or there's something that really resonated with you, we're going to give you a step. And the next step for you is to share this.
Yeah.
Share this with those you care about. And I'm not talking about send them the link when you get unwanted attention, send them the link to this podcast. Actually, if you could,
You could.
every spammer, there you go, Deborah. There you go, every spammer. Maybe I'll have an automated reply. Thank you for your
Thank you for your attention. Check this out.
Yeah. Actually, now there's a thought. So yeah, share it with them. Share it everywhere. There you go. That's the next step. Share it with those you care about and those who just annoy you. And that's us, our Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast, conversation. That's us, talk, chinwag. I really value these, and I trust that people got something from this. Just one step at a time, people. You don't have to go and run the marathon, just one step at a time, and things shift within you. But Moira and I are here. And yes, she does it with loving and kindness, and I do it with a pinata, and sometimes there's loving and kindness. My pinata's got loving and kindness in it there. I hand it to you. But we're here for you. We generally are here for you. We don't just do these podcasts. Well, we do, but we do them because we want to transform your lives and your world around you. Because this is a magnificent place to be, right here, right.
Absolutely.
So that's us signing off. Thank you, Moira, for your wisdom today. Thank you, listeners, for staying till the end. And thank you, Internet, for working. And you will hear us on the next podcast.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thanks, Debz. Thanks, listeners. Talk to you next time. Bye.